live by this quote, which says, if something makes you happy, just do it. It does not have to make sense to other people. When I started my clinic alone, I received advice from many people to not do this because it was risky and I had a stable, good job. So, why are you doing this? And it's difficult to do it alone. You don't know anything about all this. I got so many comments, but I still do it. And I get so many comments even for my YouTube to do this and that and don't do this. And everybody obviously has a say in our life, right? Seems like that. Everybody has an opinion about what we should do. But if we keep listening to them, we can't do anything, right? We have to just identify what makes us happy and then we have to do it. This brings us to today's topic. We are going to talk about stimming. So this video was actually prompted by my subscriber Delphi, but this is something parents always bring up to me. That is, he's always jumping, and when I take him to the supermarket, he makes these hand gestures and I have to tell him to stop it. Keep your hands down. We're going to divide the video topic into 3, which is what is stimming, why do children stim, and what can you do about it. And in what can you do about it, I'm going to give you 4 things to do to help your child who is stimming. Stimming is a self-stimulatory behavior, and this is pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to break it down. Self-stimulatory meaning our children do this to stimulate themselves, to engage themselves, to occupy themselves. This is basically what stimming is. So our child wants to engage himself, want to stimulate himself in a way that she finds exciting or happy or good, and so she just does it again and again. Stimming can look differently for different people. It can look like rocking, jumping, running around in circles. It can look like making different types of sounds and mouth gestures, looking in the corner of the eye, or keeping the head tilted, or shaking hands, flapping hands, looking through fingers. Now the second topic, which is why do children stim? Now before we get into this, I want you to imagine this scenario. So the scenario is like you are going to office, and in your office they have arranged a new seminar, and the topic of the seminar is hydroponics. Hydroponics is growing plants without soil, just in water. So they have started this topic, and you have absolutely no interest in plants or gardening or all these things. So what do? You suddenly, what do you think you will do? I will tell you what I mostly do and I see other people do is I will start biting my nails, or I'll start clicking my pen, or rocking my body, or like shaking my legs, or drawing on the book. So I will do all these things because I am not interested in the topic. I don't understand most of the things said in the topic, and I just want to get through this and finish this so that I have to do these things to stay awake and be in that seminar. In this example, all the nail biting, pen clicking, hand shaking, leg shaking, all of this is also a type of stimming, and it's a type of behavior we all do, but you would see that our autistic kids do it more, or do it in different ways, because it's also, the reason is similar to what the example, that is, they don't understand what is happening in the environment because they have a language delay, and they don't understand what is spoken, they don't know what to tell back, they don't know how to convert their thoughts into speech, they don't know it properly. So children in these situations, when children are put in these situations, they try to do something they know very well again and again, in attempting to keep themselves engaged, keep their body calm, keep them in the situation, keep them from freaking out, or getting angry or getting upset. So stimming is very essential to children because it serves a wide variety of functions. The second reason is our children have some social difficulties, like how to be in a social situation, how to interact, and how to understand people. So social skills are something that's difficult for a child. So when our child with a social skills difficulty is placed in an environment which demands a lot of social behavior, and our child is not able to cope with that environment, so they just tune out and engage themselves with these type of stimming behavior to keep themselves calm, and present and composed. We are all, involved in something, some social behavior like talking, conversing, and they are not able to do that. So they do something which they can do good. That our child might have a sensory dysregulation at that time. Then, like in this video, there may be like too much noise in the background. There's some drilling going on. There is some construction work going on. There's a lot of cold air in the environment, or there's different smells coming, and there may be something going on sensory for your child, and your child is not able to handle that, and then they try to do this in order to calm themselves down. So stimming, even though we don't know why our children are doing this, and the reason is not clear to us, does not mean that children don't have a reason to do this. And nobody does something, meaninglessly. We don't do anything without any reason. There's always some type of motivation for our behavior. And the same way with stimming, there is some reason our kids are doing this. Even though we cannot see the reason or we don't know the reason, that does not mean that there is no reason. There is a reason for them to do this. And now just think about it. When you do something that you need to do to calm yourself down, and somebody says don't do it, how will you feel? Like, let's say you're having an argument with your spouse and the argument is getting very heated, and then you have to take a break, otherwise you will say something you regret. So you say, I need a few minutes, and you just go out of the room, take a walk, and then come back. And in that moment, if let's say your spouse doesn't allow you to go, for that moment, how would you feel? You'll feel like you're not allowed to do something you need. You're not understood. So that is the same way our child will feel when we tell them to, like, sit still, keep your hands down, keep your legs straight, look down, don't look in the side, don't sit in this position, don't do that. So our children are also trying to cope with the world. The world is difficult with all its different language skills and so extremely sophisticated social skills and high demanding environment with a lot of sensory overload. For an autistic child whose whole world is sensory, this can be very difficult. And our child is trying to cope with everything the best way they know, and sometimes coping looks like stimming. And when we ask our child not to stim, it is going to be difficult. Do you see that? So now that you understand the why, I think you know what I'm going to say. As long as it makes him happy and it doesn't hurt him or anybody else, there is no reason to stop it, right? That brings me to the first thing you can do is to ignore it. So if your child is stimming and you're not trying to teach your child anything at that moment, and they are just being themselves, free and happy. Maybe they went to school, then they went to therapy, then they went for some skating class or karate class, and then they're coming home and they have a little bit of time. Our kids are also busy nowadays. So in that little bit of time, if they stim, it can be allowed. It is okay. And we don't necessarily have to stop it. So it's not affecting anyone. They're calm, they're relaxed, and they need to regulate themselves. First example was when there is no demands on the child. Child is not expected to do anything. Now let's say there is a situation where you're trying to teach your child, and while you're teaching, your child stims. What can you do then? You're trying to teach him and he starts making a sound, or he starts shaking his head or shaking his hand. What do you do then? So even in this situation, pause for a few seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and your child will finish stimming, and then bring their attention back to the activity. The second thing you can do within the activity. So the first thing is to pause within the activity. The second is to improve understanding. So if you looked at our reasons why children stim, we saw that understanding language is difficult for them. So they might be stimming because they're not understanding, and they're trying to understand, and they're trying to cope with what you're saying, and they're not able to, so they're just doing what they know. So in that instance, try to improve understanding by adding visual supports, by drawing what you're saying, by adding gestures to what you talk, so that your child understands and can stop stimming and come back into the conversation or into the activity. The third thing you can do is, like I was telling, your child went to school, your child had a lot of busy things in the day, or just your child had a bad day and they have a difficult day. Give your child a break. Like when you're trying to teach and he's stimming a lot, then you tell, okay, let's take a break. Let's go take a walk, or you can just go run outside for a while or play with water for a while. Give them a sensory break, playing with water or playing with clay or slime, or give them a physical break of moving or running, and then try the activity again. One single thing I wanted to tell you is, I hear this a lot from parents, is when we are outside he stims, when we are going to the shopping mall he is making sounds and everybody is looking at him and they're giving us looks. When you're in that situation, it is difficult when people are looking at you and looking at your child. And in that instance, so instead of trying to control your child, try to be your child's advocate. Like, let me just give you an example, if you will. Let's say you have a cousin who has a physical disability and they cannot walk well, and you go to a mall and there is steps in the mall. What would you do? You wouldn't tell your cousin, you can walk, come on, put your feet and keep moving. You wouldn't say that, right? What would you do? You look for an elevator, you look for an escalator or a ramp or other lift. You'll try to find different options for your cousin. That is the same way we have to do for our children also. Our children do have a difficulty with a lot of things we take for granted. We think talking is easy, we think being social is easy, but sometimes simple skills are difficult for our kids. And in this is a moment where we have to inculcate compassion and we have to teach other people to also be compassionate. So if you can help somebody with a physical disability, why can't you help someone with a hidden disability? So autism may not be, you cannot see a child with autism as autistic, but you can help your child by helping them be known to other people. Like when other people are doing these things, it's not your child's fault for stimming. They need to do that. You know that. And it's not your fault in any way. So if they're looking, try to give them a smile or try to ignore them. But don't try to control your child. So advocate for your child. If you do this, if you can ignore, if you can, build a wall or build a thick skin to other people's comments and looks, then the next thing you have to do, and you have a responsibility to do, you and I have a responsibility to do, is to advocate for our child. So talk to people about what is stimming, educate them, tell them that this is what he's doing, this is why he needs to do this, this is what this, and it's not affecting him or me or anyone. So it's okay, let us let him do it. So talk to people about it. And we often think that our child is different and that they have to fit into society. They have to somehow get inside society, and they have to change themselves to fit into society. But that's not the aim of society. Society is there, community is there, so that it can help us, so that it can give us things like, give us people to belong to have relationships with. We don't have to change for society. Society has to serve us. It has to help us. So it is the responsibility of the society to help your child and to serve your child and to accommodate your child, to include your child. But if they are not doing that, it's actually their fault and not yours. So think of those things when you encounter these things. Try to talk to people about this, increase awareness of your child's needs to the people around him. Tell them that this is what my child needs and this is what you can do for my child. Help him and do this for him. And so it is difficult because we are a minority, as the special family is a minority compared to the majority, and like throughout history every minority has to struggle for basic rights, and that's how it is. So we just have to accept this and advocate for our child, basically. So I know this has been a long video and this is a very controversial video because I'm sure not many of you would have agreed with what I'm saying, but I know that you're going to come back and agree at some other date. So if you stayed till so far, let me know in the comment on what will you do the next time your child stims. What can you do about this? And how are you going to change your mind? So most often I get questions on how do you reduce stimming. So are we going to reduce that? So let me know in the comments. Are you going to reduce your child's stimming? If you really did like this video, give it a like, press that like button because it really helps me. If you found this helpful, then let me know by liking the button. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.